helping us wake up, man.
Helping us wake up. We're both on the same project. He has a different approach. Your approach is the arc of consciousness.
Yes.
The
My
arc of
approach
consciousness.
is looking at try to look at the big picture in the arc of consciousness, in the evolution of an individual or a culture or a society, and understanding what's happening from that perspective often kind of opens it up a bit, you know.
Hmm.
You know, like,
So, yeah, I found it quite fascinating. It's been great having you around all these weeks because I've learned a lot about structures of consciousness. And, for instance, in The Revenant, which I've seen twice, I'll give you a little spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen it, just fast forward the next minute or two. But there's a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio is finally about to get revenge for his son's killer, and he's finally caught up with him. And he's with one other character who's a really nice, decent character in the movie. And that character gets ambushed and killed by the villain character in the film. And Leonardo DiCaprio now goes to this guy. He's dead, this guy who's a good fellow. And this is the moment when his quest for vengeance, which we've been warned earlier in the film in a subtle way, that vengeance is not a good idea. It's best left to the gods, as the character says. And he sees the effect of his quest for vengeance in this dead person. And then he looks up and there's an avalanche coming down right at that moment. And it really brings you to that in a way, that how would you define that consciousness shift from his internal consciousness somehow manifesting in the outside world in chaos?
Well, it could be interpreted many ways. I haven't seen the film yet, but on one level, depending on how it's portrayed, it could be this moment where it's almost as if the gods are giving him an out. From your description, it's like,
right.
I mean, all he's got to do is let nature take its course, and it's almost like this moment of recognition that the gods are taking.
Right. Well, at the end, he does actually let nature take its course with the guy.
So that is one interpretation, definitely, from how you describe it.
It's just a strange scene in the middle of that film. Anyway, so Emperor has no clothes.
Cool.
And states of consciousness. So we can talk a little bit about the states from archaic, mythic, rational.
Archaic, magic.
Oh, magic is a state? I thought that was mythic. Oh, I thought archaic was magical.
Archaic is its own.
Oh.
Then magical. Then mythic. Then rational. Then pluralistic. And then integral.
Aha. So what is archaic?
Archaic is pre-egoic.
Mm-hmm.
It's pre-awareness. It's just you know, like when we're born, you know, that you know you're just
everything is wonder.
Yeah,
everything
but you don't like see yourself as separate from the world. There's no separation.
So that's archaic.
That's archaic. Now, it's very similar to transpersonal at the other end of the spectrum, but that kind of non-dual awareness in archaic is unconscious, whereas when you get to the advanced, you can get non-dual awareness conscious. Mm-hmm. So that's the arc of consciousness. That's the two ends of the arc of consciousness.
Aha, awareness, but...
Awareness. Well, we start unconsciously non-dual. We go through the separation and all the different stages, and we climb back up to eventually that original non-dual awareness, but with consciousness behind it.
Right. Wow. Well, there you go.
So we've got archaic, magical, mythic.
Right. So then after archaic, which is non-dual reality but unconscious, you go to magical.
Yeah. Then we start to get conscious. We start to perceive an I. That's the next stage. Egoic, which is magical. Like you see an I.
Cheers. And
then the world. And at that point, when we're children, everything seems magical because we don't know anything about the world. So these things happen, and it's like, whoa, you know, where did that come from? How did that happen? Everything is magical. Yeah, we have that in this magical stage. Where
volcanoes are magical.
Everything
stars
magical,
are magical.
Trees, and, you know, just everything is just
so that's magic, and then
magical.
that goes into mythic,
Then mythic, which is ethnocentric. This is we, but it's just, it's just my family or my group of friends. It's like us and them. It's but that's ethnocentric. That's when it's the love between the parents and the child. It's it's when we fall in love. That's mythic. Mythic.
Falling in love,
a
right?
certain type of falling in love.
Right. Yes.
Let's be clear about that. It's Yeah.
And actually, in a way, it's both ends sometimes. It's a certain type of falling in love at the beginning, and then you move away from mythic, and if your relationship lasts, it actually kind of moves into mythic again at the end in a healthy way, in which you...
Well, when you get to integral, all the previous structures can coexist and can rise and fall when needed and when is appropriate. So, for example, if you're a integral president, and you have a mythic enemy that's facing you, or a opposition. I shouldn't use the word enemy, although I had to use the word enemy because mythic is the enemy, me and the enemy.
So yeah.
So you would kind of.
I would hope an integral president wouldn't have any enemies.
Oh no, that's not necessarily true. If the whole world was integral, absolutely.
Yeah.
But, so it's like, for example, when we go into a country at mythic, it's not just egocentric and ethnocentric, but it's in societies too, and cultures. So a mythic society would be a fundamentalist society, a mythic culture.
This one is actually pretty mythic.
Well, for example, in our culture, the military is mythic. And now you have to understand, every structure of consciousness has its positives and its negatives. With the mythic structure, things like valor and honor appeared. And in some forms, that's very healthy. In some forms, it's not. But so, each level, and the magical level has certain blessings to it too. But it's got a lot of blindness too. So each,
right.
So each has its value. So
it's good to integrate them all, so they all have their truths in a way.
Yes.
But it's good to integrate them all to figure out what level of truth each one lives at and not confuse those.
Yeah, and they're not all equal in truth.
Right. That's, you said, the integral perspective.
The integral perspective qualifies truth. That's true at that level, but that's not true at a different level. So that's,
right.
But we skipped some. It's after mythic is rational.
Rational, right.
So, and that's sociocentric. It's not just my family or my friends. It's America. It's, Russia. It's
right.
a country.
And in a way, the Industrial Revolution, or even the kind of Enlightenment thinking, I would think, would help spread that widely, because you're thinking, how can we improve society with inventions, and how can we expand our power as a city with more inventions, and what are the things that need to be done at scale?
So that's and magical is tribal.
Right. So the technologies accompany the
and sometimes they actually come first. Like you'll have a small percentage of a population inventing inventions that bring us to the next stage of development technology-wise, and those affect the consciousness of the society.
Right.
And pulls us forward.
Right.
And actually a lot of great wars happen when there's a disparity between our technologies and our consciousness.
Probably all wars happen for that reason.
I would say yes.